Welcome to another edition of Crucible Catch Up as we're talking about a day that completed the lineup for the quarterfinals. I'm joined by John Skilbeck, who's a writer for the Press Association. Anything that happens in this room is on PA within minutes, courtesy of this guy. John, thanks for joining us. I guess the first person we've got to talk about is Ronnie O'Sullivan. A comprehensive win over Ali Carter in the end.
It was in the end, Rob. There were times in that match where he was struggling. It was 7-all yesterday. The previous day. If Ali had pushed on from that, if he'd ended the session even level, I mean, wow, there could have been a big shock on the cards. But Ronnie pulled away. Yesterday, he finished brilliantly, had 3 big breaks in the final 3 frames. Absolutely terrific. But he spoke about being weary after the game. He spoke about feeling jaded. I don't think we can take anything for granted with Ronnie, yes. I don't think he's necessarily, over the line as some people would have him.
So you don't feel as though we've seen anywhere near his best?
The guy makes great breaks. He fires in 80s, 90s. He's had more of those than we've had dinners, hasn't he? But there's bigger tests ahead. His safety hasn't been good. His long pot-ins, iffy. I mean, he says these things himself. We're not putting these words into. Well, we're not sort of inventing these things, and. So the break building's good, but that's never going to change. But there's better players ahead who will really test him, I think, Rob.
Right. Well, let's talk about his opponent. They're good mates, the fellow Essex boy, right. Stuart Bingham, and Stuart's been around a long time, but he's enjoying a little bit of an Indian summer with regards to his career. 13-10 over Mark Davis. It wasn't really an electric second round match, but Bingham did what he needed to, and he'll be looking forward to this quarter-final with Ronnie.
He will. He admitted himself he didn't play particularly well against Davis. I think if he thinks he's going to play like that again, he's going home. But he's had a terrific season at the Stuart Bingham. He won the Premier League. I mean, he won that in really good style as well. I think he beat Judd 7-2 in the final of that. So, this guy can seriously play. If anyone thinks that Ronnie's going to have an easy win here, well, I think they might have to think again, Rob.
Yeah, I think Stuart will be really, really looking forward to that match. Now then, Ricky Walden against Robert Milkins. Now, I know you guys had written a lot about Robert Milkins because he gave a very open press conference about how he'd been through a lot away from the table. Massive win for him over Neil Robertson. 9-3 down at one stage. We probably thought Ricky would get over the line a lot sooner than he did last night. What a spirited attempt to get back into the match by Milkins.
Yeah, goodness me, wasn't it? Ricky came in here last night and he said that even he thought he was going to a decider. I think that's how most of us saw it as well. I mean, Ricky seemed to be really wobbling at one stage there. Robert had him, properly on the ropes, but he just about managed to sneak over. I think he had a big break in the last frame, about an 80-something, which, what a perfect way to end a match like that.
Ricky Walden's described himself as a little bit of a dark horse. He now plays Michael White, who, courtesy of knocking out Poonjang with a session to spare, we haven't seen him on the table since Friday, which seems like it's weeks ago, the way the Crucible drama develops day on day. A big opportunity for Ricky.
Well, he has won ranking tournaments in the past. I mean, this guy can seriously play. He's just never done it here, which I think is a mystery to him. He's failed to qualify a couple of times even, which is even more of a disappointment for him because he's better than that. Once he gets to the latter stages of the tournaments, he can be a contender. It just depends how he deals with the Crucible atmosphere because he's still not played a whole lot of matches here. But he's looked fairly solid, apart from the brief scare against Roberts yesterday. He's looked fairly solid so far. So,
okay, finally, we'll turn our attention to Ding Junhui. Really weird match with Mark King. Kingy takes the first session 6-2. Ding comes back 7-1. So he was already in a fairly kind of confident, ebullient mood going into the deciding session. But amazingly, for a player of his class, this will only be the second quarter-final he's ever contested at the Crucible.
It's strange, isn't it? I mean, this guy's won the UK, he's won the Masters. We thought by the age of 26, which I think he is at the moment, he would have won a world title. We thought might have had 1 or 2. He's that good, but it's one semi-final here for Ding, and it's just hard to understand. He hasn't made a great start to his match so far. He's got a lot of work to do. We'll just have to see how he recovers. I mean, he played so well against Mark King in the second session of that one. He won it 7-1, and King said, if he plays like that again, he'll beat everyone. He'll beat Ronnie, but it's just sustaining it. It's easy to do it in one session. Well, it's not easy. You or I would struggle, but
a bit.
Yes, indeed, yeah. But you know, Ding's got all the talent. Everyone knows that. It's no secret. But yeah, he's still got everything to prove here.
Absolutely. The four quarterfinals are really going to develop nicely. The drama's hotting up here at the Crucible. We started, 11 days ago with 32, down to just 8, and there are some really, really intriguing matches to come. So join us tomorrow as we talk about another round of games here on Crucible Catch Up.